What's up, you guys? Raymond Warner here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to get sponsored. Now, before we move on, I've made a couple videos about this before, and a lot of you guys have continuously been asking because I've never made one on this channel. They've all been on separate channels. And also, these are all of my own learnings throughout the years. This is some of the information that I've acquired in my own personal experiences. So if you guys disagree, I totally understand. You guys might have just had a different situation than I might have had. Again, this is my thoughts on how to get sponsored. There's three main things that companies look for when sponsoring somebody. There's your personality, there's your creativity, and there's your writing. Now, notice that I said writing last. I will explain that here in just a second, but we'll start with personality. Your personality is a huge factor for many different reasons, as I'm sure that's pretty understandable. You want to make sure that you're very presentable when it comes to kids, because scootering, the age range is usually like mid-teens. So you're looking at like 14-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids, and some of you guys that are watching right now. But if you're not presentable, if people don't feel like they can go up to you and have a conversation and talk to you, and that kind of a thing, companies really aren't going to want to sponsor you because you can't really tell anybody about a product. If I'm at the skate park and I'm just riding, I'm just minding my own business, I'm not talking to anybody, I kind of seem like I'm just really quiet, and that's an issue. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I'm a nice guy, because I am. Let's clarify this really quick. I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. If you see me at the skate park, come up, say hello. Let's get a picture. Let's ride together. Let's get a sesh. I'm a nice guy. So if you see me, come up. Again, if I was minding my own business, not really talking to anybody, and just seeming like I'm antisocial, nobody's gonna want to come and talk to me. Nobody's gonna know what I'm about. Nobody's gonna know the kinds of things that I like. Nobody's gonna know the companies that I'm representing, all that kind of stuff. So your personality and your attitude is huge. So if I'm at the park and I'm having just a bad day, and I'm riding and I mess up on a trick 5 or 6 times or whatever, and I get really upset, and I throw my scooter and I start cussing and I start doing all this different stuff, that's a huge issue too. That's not really something that you want to do. That makes you obviously have a bad look, and if you're wearing a shirt that has a company name on it, that's a bad look as well. There are other things that fall into the whole personality thing. For example, when it comes to your personality, that also falls into the same category as what kind of things you like to ride, whether it's skate parks or street or whatever. Now, again, this is what I've realized, because I ride skate parks. That's my sort of terrain that I've always enjoyed, and when it comes to wearing protective gear, that falls into the same category as your personality and or your attitude. I've always found that wearing protective gear when it comes to like, for example, helmets, knee pads, I used to wear gloves, those kinds of things I personally think are very important, because when it comes to kids, that's a message that I want to spread to kids, and just get them to realize that safety is a huge thing. I don't really ever ride without my helmet. I pretty rarely ride without my knee pads, especially when it comes to me doing bigger things at a skate park. I usually always wear my knee pads. The only reason I might not is maybe if I forgot them, but I usually always have my helmet while I'm riding at the skate park. Now, does that mean that you have to wear a helmet and you have to wear knee pads and you have to wear elbow pads and all this different stuff to get a sponsor? No. There's companies out there that don't require that stuff at all. There's a lot of companies that are street oriented, and I totally understand. People that ride street usually don't have helmets on, and that's just their style. Again, my style, I personally think that wearing protective gear is very smart, but I'm not them. Everybody has their own personality, everybody has their own opinion on many things, and everybody has their complete and total right to have that. Mine just so happens to be wear protective gear. Now, number 2, your creativity. You gotta stand out. That's a huge thing as well. If I just look like every other kid at the skate park, nobody's gonna really notice me. But if I'm at the skate park and I'm doing high crazy airs and these crazy different tricks that I've made myself, or whatever the creativity situation may be, or even if you're posting on Instagram and you're doing that a little bit different than everybody else, that's a huge thing. That's a great way for you to be noticeable. I'll give you guys a quick example. I've been riding scooters for a very long time, just about 14 years. I used to do tricks that nobody really does now, and I still do a lot of those tricks. For example, turn downs, and I do them bow-legged. What that means is, instead of me keeping both of my legs completely straight when I do turn downs, I roll one of my ankles, my front ankle, and my knee goes out in front of my bars. That's a very different thing that not a lot of people do today, and not a lot of people did back in the day either. And that's one of the tricks that I do that I think is very unique, and it's not done enough. and I like it. I love it. And another trick that I do a lot of is tuck knees. I love to do tuck knees, and I barely ever see people do tuck knees, and that's something that'll make me stand out. And another thing is like flip quad whips. I love doing flip quad whips. That's actually my favorite trick. I don't see a lot of people doing those. So there's a few different things that I personally do to make myself stand out. You guys should really use the things that you think make you different and use those a lot. Make yourself stand out, because let me tell you, everybody has a way to make themselves stand out, but some people just need to figure out what that thing is still. Find it. The third and final thing that I think people look for when sponsoring somebody is your writing. Now, it's pretty obvious. You have to be somewhat good. Now, do you have to be the best? You don't. That's the beauty of being sponsored. You don't have to be the absolute best to get a sponsor. You just have to be presentable. I'm telling you guys, the most important thing of these three is your attitude and your personality. Again, I'm not saying that writing is not important. Obviously, writing is very important because you want to post on Instagram, stuff like that, your writing footage. But if you post writing footage of you losing your mind, that's probably not going to look very good for either you nor the company. Writing is important, but when it comes to your creativity, that's you being creative on your scooter, on your skateboard, on your bike, in your car, whatever you're trying to get sponsored for, whether it's drifting, it doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, you want to be different. When it comes to your writing, there's not really like a set list of tricks that you need to know how to do. You obviously need to know how to do the basics, your tailwhips, your bar spins, your 360s. Flips are helpful sometimes. Spins are a big thing. So there's a lot of different things that you can do that will help you boost up your chances of really getting a sponsor. Another thing that a lot of people do not do enough is go high and jump huge gaps and stuff like that. You don't see that very often. You see a lot of people doing boxes, and they do the same style of tricks. They do the whip, rewinds, and kicklesses and stuff like that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't know how to do those types of tricks and the trendy stuff, whatever you want to say. I'm not saying it's not important, but it's more important for you to do tricks that like I said, they make you stand out. Whether it's a 1080, that's something that'll make you stand out. You do a 1080, I rarely see people do 1080s anymore. I used to see people do them every now and then. Some of the people I've seen do them is Tyler Bonner, Joe Armstrong, and the fact that they had that trick on lock was a huge boost for them. I can't do 1080s. I've done a 1080, but I can't do them very often. I've literally done like maybe two, and I've done them both to Resi. So I'm not saying that I'm the best in the world either. I've had sponsors, a lot of sponsors in the day. Nice, Ray. In the past, I've had a lot of sponsors, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job keeping those sponsors and keeping them happy and just making sure that my name stays in the game. I've been around, like I said, for 14 years now, and there's not a lot of riders that have been around for 14 years and have kept their name relevant. So I'm very happy that I've been able to do that. I've worked very hard, and you guys can do the same thing. You guys can get a sponsor. Everybody can get a sponsor. You have to just follow these three things that I've been telling you. Make sure you have a good personality and or a good attitude. Make sure that you are creative. Have a good work ethic at that creativity that you do have. Make sure you work on that every single day to do something that's a little bit different, make you stand out. And your writing. Make sure that you are always working, you're always practicing on your writing, you're always wanting to learn new tricks. Do that stuff. It's all very, very important. Now, is that it? Is that everything that you need to know how to do to get a sponsor? No. There are a lot of other things that I really could go into very far detail in, but it doesn't really matter. The three main things that matter are the three things that I just told you. Now, again, these are my own personal experiences that I've acquired throughout the years. So this is what I think sponsors look for. Now, another thing that you guys don't want to do is if you're going to a sponsor and let's say for example you're going to Envy for a sponsor, you want to love the parts that you're riding. You want to be able to say that I love these parts because of blank. If you send a video to somebody saying that you want a sponsor, you want this company to sponsor you, make sure you're running that company's parts, or you're wearing a shirt or something like that. Don't send Envy a sponsor video wearing a completely different company's shirt and riding their scooter. That's just it's not a very good look on you. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but you have a better shot at getting a sponsorship from a company that you want to ride for if you're supporting them and riding their products and and you're already showing that you like their stuff. You're wearing shirts, you're wearing a hat, you're wearing sunglasses, you're doing whatever you can and whatever in your ability you can to show this company that you want to support them. I know that everybody can't go out and buy a brand new scooter, but you want to ride for this company, and I understand that. And I'm not saying that you absolutely have to have an Envy scooter if you're sending a sponsorship video to Envy. You can ride like a Magyar, you can ride a Havoc, you can ride whatever. You can do that. We're not all fortunate enough to have brand new scooters all the time. I get it. I'm just saying, if you're trying to get sponsored by a certain brand, it usually helps if you're supporting that brand previously to you asking for a sponsorship. Not all sponsorships are the same, so if you hit up a sponsor and you say, hey, I want free scooters, I want to get paid, I want to get all this different stuff, I want you guys to send me places. Now, that doesn't always happen. That's actually pretty rare for you to get a very serious package like that, for you to be sent out to different countries, and for you to get brand new scooters all the time, for you to all this. That's actually really rare, and don't expect that right away from a company. You need to be you need seniority. You need to start somewhere. Everybody has to start somewhere, whether it's you starting with a 30% off discount. That's a start, you guys. So don't think that just because they're not giving you a whole bunch of stuff free that you're not sponsored. You have to start somewhere. I started somewhere 10 years ago. I rode for Scooter Zone. That was my very first sponsor, and I got one scooter, and I rode that scooter forever before I got anything else from them, and I absolutely loved it, and I knew that I was sponsored. Now, I know that it was a little bit different because the times were a lot different, but even prior to that, my first real not real sponsor back in the day, and I didn't get anything for free. I wore a shirt that I got for 20 bucks, and I got bragging rights. I was on this team called DXG, and it was just a few friends, and we all got together, rode our scooters, and made a video together, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm still so thankful for John Radke for actually putting me on DXG for back in the day, because it was something. It was a start. It was something I was fed. I was so hungry prior to that I wanted a sponsor so bad, and I finally got one, and I held on to that for the longest time, and I told everybody that I was sponsored by DXG, and I rode for DXG, and it was a crew, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And if I could go back right now and do it all over again, I would. And I never got paid. I never got sent anywhere. I was just a part of a crew, and that was my start. You guys need to start somewhere. And I wish you all good luck. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that this video is able to help you guys in the future when it comes to getting your first sponsor, or even if you're getting your second sponsor or your third sponsor. I hope that this video helps you in the future to basically help you achieve some of the dreams that you have. And again, this is my own personal opinions, so don't go down and comment that none of this stuff matters, because it does. I can tell you right now for a fact, all the things that I just said, they matter at some point, and it might not be for every single company in the world, but for some companies, all of that stuff matters. But if you guys don't get a sponsor, don't worry about it. You should just have fun in your scooter. Everybody should just have fun. The entire world doesn't evolve around you getting a sponsor. That's not what the world revolves around. Scootering is meant for you guys to have fun. It's a tool. It's a tool. Your scooter is a tool for you guys to have a good time, and for you to learn different things, not only in scootering, but outside of scootering. And I know that sounds crazy, but in the future, 10 years from now, if you're young, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Your scooter teaches you more than just how to do scooter tricks. And I hope that you guys are able to realize that one day. This is my second video that I posted today, so if you guys didn't see my previous video, make sure you go back, check that out, and I'm signing out for the day. Thanks guys, much love as always. Later.